Welcome to Coffee with the Sarlos. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Karen.
We are a mother-daughter duo of mediums, medical intuitives, psychics, and energy healers offering personal sessions to clients all over the world. And this is our podcast.
Coffee with the Sarlos is a platform to share the remarkable experiences of our clients and the messages that are channeled for them from the spirit world. These stories will make you laugh, some will make you cry, and some are certain to be an absolute butt-kicking with love.
Our intent for this podcast is to gently and kindly challenge your beliefs, grow your empathy, and help you find pieces of your own self in each one of these individual stories. Before we jump into today's show, we have a few notes for our listeners. Karen and I have personal practices channeling for local and international clients. If the stories in these shows is something you'd like to experience, you can request your own personal session through our website, bysarlo.com. We also have gift certificates available if you wish to gift this experience to someone anywhere in the world.
We have a second podcast series called Sips of Sanity. This series is your emotional and intuitive intelligence toolkit.
We pick one topic every month and provide you with healthy tools for critical thinking and communication. This series airs the first week of every month. The first show is free and can be found on our website, your favorite podcast platform, or YouTube. The full series can be found on patreon.com/bysarlo. Patreon is our membership portal with a ton of monthly benefits for those of you seeking to grow your emotional and intuitive intelligence. Karen has a personal blog that explores the beauty and importance of intuitive gifts. There's a question and answer segment that addresses listeners' questions. As we mentioned, you can find the complete Sips of Sanity series here, along with handy habit trackers and great reflective questions to help you get the most from the shows. We provide you with guided journeys and music to enrich that experience, and we're running an emotionally intelligent, interactive book club. And for patrons in our top tier, each month we're putting your names into a draw for a free half-hour channeling session with Karen or myself. If you're interested in joining us, head over to patreon.com/bysarlo. Now, on to the show.
Good morning, Kelly, and how are you today?
I'm mush, Mom. Like my brain, I don't know how this show's going to go. I'm reeling off of the fact that we just had Dr. Margaret on again, who is just one of the great authors in the mental health field.
Okay, wait, let's hit a pause there for people who are listening to this for the first time. We're talking about Dr. Margaret Rutherford from the podcast show Self-Work.
Yeah, so it's called The Self-Work, and her book is called Perfectly Hidden Depression. She's working on a workbook for Perfectly Hidden Depression, and it's been published in multiple languages all over the world. It is incredible.
And she's doing fireside chats.
Yes.
On Elon Musk's platform, right?
Yeah.
And she has invited you and I, so I guess we could also say that today, she's invited you and I to be on her platform on that app. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't even know how this is our life. And then as people will hear, and see in the continuity of our clothes, we just sat down to do this podcast for Coffee with the Sarlos and found out that Beverly Angel, another great in the field who's been around for decades, is going to just pop into our book club. Pop in.
Yeah, because we are talking and reading her book with our patrons on patreon.com/bysarlo called It Wasn't Your Fault. And that book and what we're working through is shame.
Yeah, so we just started that book, It Wasn't Your Fault, on February 1st. Mm-hmm. So for people who are excited by this and want to be a part of all of it, there's still time. We're only a chapter in, or 2 chapters at this point, not even 2 discussions deep, which is pretty exciting. So you're not far behind. There's time to jump in at any point.
And people can jump in at any point anyway, because we keep all these things on patreon.com for people to have access to.
Right. So if you sign up today, you have access to everything that we've done since we opened the platform in September 2019, which is incredible. We're just so excited because she's going to be there live on Zoom with us.
Yeah, how exciting is that to have the author pop right into your book club? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's try out this show today.
Okay. So stepping into this show today, I have 2 stories for everybody. And for the first story, Kelly, which is the medical intuitive one, I need the name of a male.
Okay, I'm going to choose Diego.
So Diego and I can see each other, and I didn't know it was going to be medical intuitive. When we got through consent, he said he'd like an open session. And the spirit guides approached me immediately and said, no, we have your medical intuitive guide here. And he actually wants medical intuitive. He's asking for open because he's scared. So keep that in mind, Karen.
Can I hit a pause button right here?
Yeah.
So you said I have your medical intuitive guide here, and I think some people will take that literally to heart. Like there's one guide for each person who does medical intuitive only. And I just want to say, like, that's not the case. The way that you're telling the story is cool, and it's totally fine. But if people are coming like, oh, I got to book an appointment to find out who my one and only medical intuitive guide is.
That would be a mess.
Yeah, like so many beings and spirits, including your own, are capable of providing that information for you. This is just a one instance situation.
And this is my medical intuitive guide. Just like I have a different guide for suicide, just like I have a guide for different things. I'm saying that my personal guide is the one that told me this, even though it's their medical information, and they're going to come with their guides as well. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I brought that up. I said, Diego, I'm being told that you're looking for medical intuitive. My guide is telling me that and is bringing forth my medical guide. Is this something that you're open to, even though you've granted an open session and you know what all of the services are and you've consented? I'm going to check in with you because some people, even though we ask you if you have any boundaries, they slide over that really quickly and say that they're open to everything. But when we hit medical, it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I said, I'm asking that also because they said that you purposely didn't bring it up because you have anxiety about it. And he looked at me and he went, oh my word.
There's just no hiding.
Like this. And I said, oh, are you okay? Yeah, because you just made me feel so cared for. You just made me feel so respected. And like, you're just sitting there asking for consent. You're telling me the process. He said, I wasn't expecting that. I've seen other psychics. They just blurt things out. And I said, okay, that is not the way that I'm going to do this with you because your guides prefaced that you had anxiety. But to tell you the truth, I might have done that to somebody else.
Might have. We have like over 500 shows where you absolutely did it multiple times. Sometimes you just sit there and say random words and then look at them like, I guess we'll wait and find out what that's about. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Go on. It's your story.
It's all good, though.
You tell it the way you want.
So he gave me permission and we had our moment. We had our moment of Diego and I doing our human connection, which I think is so important. It's something that I value so much because, yeah, we want to connect to the spirit guides, but we want to feel that personal connection with a client. Mm-hmm. We don't want to just spew out facts. So anyway, we stepped in and his guides immediately pulled up an x-ray. And you know how we see the x-rays, black and white, and started showing me his spinal cord and the vertebrae, or vertebra, I don't know. I've heard it pronounced both ways. And said, this is where he's got problems. And then they were, at first, Kelly, they showed it quickly, like I could just see it all at once. And I thought, holy shit, Diego must be in a ton of pain and have a ton of issues because he's lighting up like a light bright.
Oh, I'm just going to point out for you, out of a place of compassion, that this is an instance where they didn't offer you synesthesia.
Oh, yeah, thankfully.
Yeah, because I know you've been through the ringer.
Oh, yeah.
Having medical presented as synesthetic experiences rather than just being able to see it up on a screen, distanced from yourself. And I'm just saying the guides cut you a break, and maybe you could acknowledge that.
Okay, yes, yeah. I will acknowledge that and say thank you very much to all of my guides for not giving me that synesthetically.
Mm-hmm. They're probably talking and they're just, out there being like, you know what, it's the spine guys, just give her an x-ray, throw it up.
Yeah, that's so true. And now you're making me appreciate the spirit world even more. Yeah, thank you. Mm-hmm. So I looked at that and I just had a heartbreaking moment of how much pain this person has got to be in to have all of those different things going on in the body. And I thought, okay, what do I do with that? And they said, well, you're actually going to go into some of them and say, it's C6, T1. This is why the trap muscle's so tight. This is why he needs a massage therapist. This is why he needs a physiotherapist. This is why needling could work. This is why acupuncture. This is why he needs a chiropractor. And I went, oh Lord, he needs the whole team. And they went, he needs the whole team, but without the chiropractor, he's screwed. He can go to as many physios as he wants. He can have as many massages as he wants. This is not going to resolve. And if he has any of those professionals that deter him from the chiropractor, he should run in the opposite direction because they are in their ego and they do not understand the value of each of the different modalities. Same goes for any energy healer that he's seeing, because it won't be just energy healing that can deal with all of these issues. He's going to need several people. And I thought, okay, that's a fantastic message. And they went, so say it like that, and then we're going to go through some things, and we're going to say to you that this vertebra right here and this one here, so, for example, if they're pointing to C6 and T1 and 2, are giving him pain around this rib, they're giving him pain into this muscle, it's radiating down his arm into this finger because it's pressing on this nerve. And we're going to prove to him by showing him that here's your root cause of pain, but he's going to want to know, why do I have this feeling in this finger? And when you go to say to him, because it's this vertebra in his body, in his back, he's going to think, no, the pain is here. And if you keep trying to explain the root or the path of pain, he's not going to listen. So we're going to go from this angle and say, here's the vertebra, and here's the pain that you're experiencing, so that his brain can go in the reverse and then figure it out, so that the brain can go back and forth and actually make the connection for him, which I thought was really cool, Kelly, because not everybody listening to this would agree. Some of them might think, why wouldn't you just tell him it's in the back and it's radiating out? Because some people don't understand it that way. So I thought it was really neat that his guides were saying, we know him better than you, so we're going to tell you how to word it to him, so that his brain can actually put those connections together for him, so he will be willing to go and make those appointments.
I think it's really cool that after over 500 shows, you still say it's really cool that the guides meet them halfway. Okay. I'm going to say, obviously, and I'm no less impressed. I don't find it any less magical than the day we started this.
Yeah.
But the guides always meet the client halfway, or meet them where they're at, even to say okay, this is their belief system, so you're going to word it this way so that we can make the leap instead of asking them to make it on their own.
Okay, so what's happening here in my life today that I feel like I'm at day one of doing podcast shows with you?
Well, I feel like, yeah, maybe.
What the fuck?
Maybe, but I don't know. We got really good news today. I feel rattled in the most fun way possible.
Okay.
Don't you just feel a little discombobulated?
I do.
And I can feel myself floating out partway through, the recording, being I didn't even get time to process the fact that Beverly said yes. Okay. And we just moved on, business as usual. We were doing the announcement, surprisingly, and Winston was just chewing a biscuit in the corner there was nothing special about this day.
Right.
And it's that's the surrealness of the moment, right?
Yeah. I feel like the guides are going to kick my ass when I get into that kitchen tonight to dance with all the spirits. I feel like they're going to say, where were you today?
What happened to you?
So I'm just going to move on and try and keep doing my best. Okay. So his session went through more examples of this. So when I look at this, this X-ray, I see from from C1 to about T8. And I say to Diego, this is the main area where I see all of your problems. This is where you're going to really need a chiropractor, and then do your thing with all of the other professionals. But let your chiropractor guide it by saying things like, okay, go see your physio a couple of times, go do the stretches and the exercises so that I can get into a deeper layer. And Diego goes, what do you mean deeper layer? Isn't a bone a bone? Isn't my vertebra a vertebra? Like, what do you mean? And I said, well, I think I can understand it to some degree because I have spent decades seeing chiropractors and listening to their vocabulary and how they talk to me. But I would defer to them and their expertise to be able to explain to you why they would say come back and why they would say that I got an adjustment at this level and why it's not going to hold yet and why I need you to go see some of these other people, these other professionals. And then when you come back, we'll be able to get it to a deeper level of adjustment and that it will be able to hold longer so that eventually you won't have to keep coming back as often, or perhaps maybe you'll get to the point where you see me on occasion.
But she'd still like to defer to have a chiropractor explain it.
Okay. Yes.
You just went into an explanation.
Well, but some people might think I did a good one, and some chiropractors listening might sit there and go, yeah, she didn't do too bad.
Oh, like I think you did a great layperson way of explaining things, and that's exactly what our listeners would need.
Okay, good enough then.
To get them in the door to make the leap, bridging that gap with the chiropractor when they say, okay, this is why it wouldn't hold, they can go, okay, Karen mentioned something like this.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah, because it's got to go deep enough so that it can hold. And those muscles have to become retrained, hence your massage therapist and your physiotherapist and your other people, so that you're actually building the muscle. You know, we want it to relax. We want it to then get stronger. And then we want the whole body to get stronger, all of those systems, so that the spine will be able to hold itself finally. I get your look. I think I get your look right now.
You went from I will defer to the chiropractor to 5 to 7 minutes later of your explanation as to why you can't explain what you just explained.
Okay, I get it. So
if there's anyone not on YouTube just listening to this, Karen's faces are fucking priceless today.
Okay, good enough. I see your point.
You sit in you should. Okay. I was trying to say you sit in humility in such a comical, wonderfully light way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and your humility where you're really just trying to accept what's going on is just all over your face as you're processing it. And I so appreciate that.
Oh, okay. So all of this information is given. And I asked Diego at that point if he was writing it down, if he was recording. And he said, I'm writing it all down. I couldn't see that, though, because of the way the camera was. And he said, I'm not recording anything. And I thought, okay, you do as you wish, as long as you've got some idea and some memory. And he goes, no, I'm actually doing a good job of trying to write this down. So that's fine. Then fast forward to a little while ago, recently, I got an email from Diego. And open the email. And it's brief. It just simply states that I had seen you a little while ago and you had given me information in regards to seeing a chiropractor. And I wanted to send you this follow-up email. So I just scroll down a little bit more. And Kelly, I want you to take a look and describe this.
Oh, this is why you were looking at your email before we...
So I gave, I said between C1 and T8, where the majority is. So just, you can go ahead. This is what they sent because it's actually from the chiropractor's office.
That's incredible.
Can you go ahead and describe what you're seeing?
Yep. So this is a picture of the spine, and they have X'd all of the different areas down the spine from C1 to T8.
Okay, so I counted them because I needed to know. Just as much as other people want to know if we're accurate, we want to know how accurate we are. And there are 27 that need to be moved or adjusted or whatever chiropractors want to say is their word. There are 27 between C1 and T8, and I missed 4 that were below T8 that went from T8 to L, the lumbar spine, and the SI joint. And there wasn't anything in his email as to whether I did say anything else about that or not, so I don't remember if there were other comments, and there were no other messages in the email about it. So I'm handing that to you because there is obviously written consent to share it. So I did. I emailed back right away and said, can I please do a podcast? Because this is something that is actually right from the doctor's office that allows me to see my accuracy. It allows you and I as medical intuitives to say when people ask, well, what do you mean medical intuitive? I don't believe in that. Or however people respond to what we do. It allows us to be able to take those comments, and I say this kindly, it allows us to dismiss them.
Oh, I was going to say shove it up their bum. I also think this is fantastic because when people say to us, oh, you're not scientific, it's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd also like to talk to you about 104 notifications that are unopened, but that'll be for another time.
Okay.
Okay.
Cringe. Or maybe we won't have that conversation and I'll just go clean them up before you say anything. And then I'll say they're done.
Perfect. Congratulations. That's huge.
Thank you.
And it's huge, and it's day-to-day normalcy for the two of us.
Yeah.
Where there's this really incredible need to balance out not being shocked and surprised by that and being able to digest it to, like you said, to trust ourselves, to take the next client and know we're not hurting anyone with information, right?
Yeah.
And to still, like you said, go happy dance in the living room afterwards or the kitchen afterwards, to celebrate on the toilet with all of the guys and say, like, we did it. We did this.
Yeah. And I think, you've said it beautifully, Kelly, that it gives us confidence. Yes, which everybody needs in any career.
That's why managers and people provide feedback in the workforce to say, you handed this thing and you learned this new skill and you did a great job, and we're acknowledging that.
Yeah, it's basically like the chiropractor handed me back my test results and said, here's how you did. And I don't really know if he would come back and say, oh, no, actually, you did get 100%. I just didn't put it in the email. Or if they might say, no, that's what we talked about. Those were the examples that were given.
I was just going to say, because you're talking about specific pain that he came to inquire about. And the ones that you missed, quote unquote, are down in the pelvic area.
Yeah.
And that is unrelated to why there would be numbness in his hands. Right? So the ones that you nailed, and I'm not going to argue, I'm just saying, like, the ones that were missed were not necessarily relevant to what was being asked or asked to be solved in the session.
Yeah, that's possible because at this point I don't remember the session. I have to go by what's in the email. And I have to ponder what else those things could be.
Right.
But I'm proud. I'm proud of the work that you and I do as medical intuitives. I'm proud that for something where you and I have never had, I'm going to say any human training, but I totally believe that you and I have constant training in our sleep, in our journeys. You and I use each other to try and get better all the time. You and I have created systems to fall back on or to go to where I go up to you after a session and say, can I get yes or no's from the spirit world?
Well, it's you and I aren't our only systems either. We've put together a health team for our own selves, for our own pets. And those professionals have enough respect for us that when we say, can you explain what I'm experiencing? Or I had a client, can I ask you a question? They experienced this and this was what the guide said. Our chiropractor will look at us and say, yep, that makes sense because this, and this all connect. All of our massage therapists on speed dial will say, yep, that makes sense because of these muscles and joints. Our vet we call up constantly, and as you know, she's guested on our show multiple times, will say, yep, that you did the surgery correctly energetically. It's how I would have done it on the table.
Yeah.
Like that's incredible.
Yeah.
And so we've absorbed lingo as well, so that when we do see these x-rays in intuitive sessions, we also have a history of built up vocabulary with these professionals to be able to actually communicate to the individuals in front of us in layperson, by the way, which you did a great job of earlier in the show. And then discredited yourself. I'm going to kick your ass in the kitchen with the guides.
I see it.
I've just started early.
I'll just remove the knives off the counter, I guess.
Whoa.
Sorry, I'm just teasing you. Yeah. I know you're not coming at me with any knives. I get it. Okay, I want to add a little story here, Kelly, that occurred a little while ago around Christmas time. When our friend, the vet, came over to open gifts, and at the end of it, I said, can I ask you a quick little question to confirm a medical intuitive reading I did for a dog today? And she said, absolutely. Tell me what happened. What'd you get? And I said, well, I woke up in the middle of the night with a really sharp pain right deep in my ass. And she went, okay, keep going.
I know, like unfazed, eh?
Oh, yeah, she's totally unfazed. And she says, talk to me more. What did you do about it? What did you say about that pain in the ass? And I said, well, this is how it felt, and this is where it went, and it was pinching on a nerve. It was pressing into a muscle. I could see the inflammation around the muscle, and I could see that it was radiating into this part of the dog's body. And I said, and I could feel it going out into my ass, and then down into this part of my body. And then I fell back to sleep, and then I got up this morning and I felt it again, and it can come and it can go. And then the dog took me up into their digestive system and said, now you're going to need to change my diet or this pain in my ass isn't going to go away. Like this. And she went, yes, that is all correct. Now I will explain it to you. She said, what? Oh, and he was, the dog dragged his bum on the ground a little bit. Mm. And she said, oh, and there was a little bit of liquid, but it was like clear or something that came out. Mm-hmm. And I had thought it was going to be blood because I thought it was a hemorrhoid. Because as a human being, here's too much information for our listeners.
Twice today.
I've had hemorrhoids. Well, I've had 2 kids.
What woman hasn't?
I've had hemorrhoids. And they've bled. So I know when you have a hemorrhoid internally or externally that you're going to get blood. At least I did. So I thought that the liquid coming out was going to be red, and I didn't see red. So that was where my confusion was that this is not a hemorrhoid in the dog, but it's something that looks similar and presents similar in pain. And she said, that's correct. You're talking about
the anal glands.
The draining of the anal glands. And I said, that's what the guides said. And they said that the dog does have to go to a vet, and that when you go see the vet, you should have a good discussion around whether it's something that you can learn to do, or if you're going to have to return with your dog repetitively to have the anal glands drained. And that you have to remember this, that as soon as your dog shows these signs of discomfort, you get your ass in there because this is painful. Mm. This isn't something that you sit there and think that your dog's dragging their ass around and that you can just let that go for a little while. No, that is discomfort. So she told me that all of that was correct. And I just wanted to share that because I thought it was just another way. This time, though, Kelly, there was a combination of the synesthesia because the pain literally woke me up in the middle of the night. And I remember laying in my bed trying to move around, trying to get in a position that could give me some level of comfort. And the spirit guides told me, you're not going to get any level of comfort. This isn't even pain in your own body.
Yeah, you just sort of have to sit in it and pay attention to it so that you can basically make notes to hand to the client hours away.
Which I think is super funny because here I am laying in bed. I have no notepad, no recording device near me.
Not true. You've got your cell phone.
Oh, I had my cell phone. You're right about that.
You are a boomer though, so go on.
So, do you think that's funny? But you're right, because it didn't dawn on me, which it usually would, but it didn't at that time. And I remembered going back to sleep thinking, somebody in the spirit world has to file that for me, because I don't want to get up. I don't want to do anything. I just want to fall back to sleep. The pain is starting to subside. Somebody remind me of this when I need it, because if I have 8 clients in the day, I'm not going to know, especially if I have more than one dog, I'm not going to know where to apply this.
Mm-hmm. I also think this is really, I'm super glad that you chose to share the story today. Obviously, it's 2 medical intuitive stories. I hope this helps people understand that this can give you the confidence to go to the doctor. Yeah. The confidence to know that, yes, it is time, that you're not wasting anyone's time, that it's not silly, that what you're observing in your animal is not, being blown out of proportion. Like, you're learning something today about how to trust your own observations and hopefully your own intuition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who knows, Kelly? Maybe somebody else wakes up in the middle of the night and gets a pain in their ass, and then it is their dog's stuff, or it's their partners or their kids, and they have some intuition, they have some synesthesia, and don't know that it's called intuitiveness, don't know that it's called mere touch synesthesia. Just think it's crazy, or dismiss it altogether, and just go to their own doctor, and then find out nothing is wrong. Okay. So, Cal, I had another story to tell you today, but we're going to leave it because it's not a medical intuitive one, and these two went beautifully together.
Yeah, sounds good. You're the creative director of this show.
Well, thank you, producer.
No, I love this. So genuinely, thank you for doing today's show and for all the synesthesia stuff you had to go through to have content, I suppose.
Yep.
Yeah, proud of you.
Thank you.
And thank you to all of our listeners for putting up with our giddy excitement and maybe dancing around your living rooms with and for us in your own giddy excitement, watching our growth. So many of you are ridiculously kind to reach out and say congratulations, whether you're a part of those things or not. All of your support means something to us. We still have such a small community. We have had such slow, beautiful growth that it still feels really tight-knit. So all of those messages are still so personal to us.
Yeah, they very much are.
Happy Saturday, everyone. Thanks for listening to Coffee with the Sarlos. If you enjoyed the show today, help spread the love with a like, share, or review of the podcast. See you next Saturday with a brand new episode.